Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. Oh my God. Look who we have here with us. Wayne, I can't believe it. It's not me and you to start off a live stream. Hey,
Awesome.
we are honored to have with us Prog Stream, Sunday Prog Stream 5. We're done with the numbers. The numbers are stupid. They drag you down anyway. It's the one and only Notes Reviews. Thank you for joining us. What's going on this glorious weekend of a Steven Wilson release?
Well, that's just it. I'm just doing amazing. You know, new Steven Wilson album that's not 100% pop or trying weird stuff kind of thing. So I've just been digesting it. I've had now, I think, 2.5 listens of it. So
Okay.
I'm really excited to chat and geek out about it.
Wayne, how many listens in are we so far with the Harmony Codex?
2 for me.
Okay.
And I find the second listen is it's probably one of those albums where the more you listen to it, the more you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Because I found the first time I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And then the second time I found I enjoyed it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm probably on my 3.5 probably of the songs that were not already dropped as singles. You know, I'm one of those people that I try to resist listening to the early singles. I can't. I got to hear them. And I enjoyed them all, and they were all, you know, a little different from each other. So we kind of knew that was, you know, kind of the direction this record was going to go, was really eclectic and really diverse. What are your initial thoughts on it, Michael? What are you feeling on this thing so far?
It's very subdued, you know. It's very, like, I don't want to say quiet, but like it's definitely not like immediate in that kind of sense. This might sound really weird for anybody that doesn't quite know, but like for me, it was a very Ghost Stories from Coldplay, where it's very quiet. It's very, like, there's a lot of nooks and crannies to look through, and I actually really appreciate that. Like To the Bone and The Future Bites were very immediate. Like immediately you knew what it was, and after subsequent listens, they never really wavered. I feel like this one you're going to have a lot of development as you listen to it, and I even found that, and that it's already been mentioned here. Like, the second listen is very different from the first listen, and I have a very strong feeling that like the third listen and the fourth listen will also be very different from one another.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I love it or if I just really like it or if I'm just kind of infatuated or whatnot, but I'm kind of itching to get off the live stream and listen to it again. And that's actually not a bad sign, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's certain tracks I haven't quite figured out yet. And, you know, that's exciting and that's cool. And you can't ask for a whole lot more from any artist release to have people actually excited about it and talking about it, because, you know, hey, we're dedicating this entire live stream to the release of the new Steven Wilson, but you know, that's not the only thing we're going to talk about today, is it? I mean, we've got other exciting things we're going to delve into, not least of which is Wayne, do you have any examples of bad album covers you want to show the people today?
Not on me, but
don't. We're just setting it up here. Don't show anything yet. But
but I did write down a bunch because I did find in Prog there has been some terrible album covers. Even this Steven Wilson album cover, I'm not completely in love with. And then I looked at a lot of it.
It's this weird geometric, colorful figure, and what's that, like a skyscraper upside down or something superimposed on the image? I don't know what I'm looking at there, which is kind of like the music. I don't always know what I'm listening to, so maybe it's perfect. Maybe it's like an old Hypnosis cover where sometimes didn't quite fit, and other times when it did, it was like pure genius. Which, you know, you think about the Pink Floyd covers, and there's a lot of Pink Floyd moments on this new Steven Wilson album. Tangerine Dream moments on this album here. You know, but I just want to take a moment and make a little announcement on the front end. We're only 5 minutes into the live stream, but we've got a few eyeballs on us already. So Wayne and I have decided it was time to announce the formation of the Eternal Order of Prog Rock, and thereby this is the Knights of the Prog Table, right? And I hereby announce that Wayne, you are hereby knighted as the first knighted person on the round table. So congratulations for being my right hand these first 5 live streams. Just fantastic, outstanding work, Wayne. Tell the people about your channel for those who are going to tune in later and don't really know who you are and why you've been so honored with the very first order of prog rock and the Eternal Order.
So
what's going on?
So my name's Wayne. A Pluck Full of Heap is my one channel. My other channel is Prisms of Prog, which I just started. I'm hoping to get more content up there. Just life's got in the way last week from doing anything. But for the most part, on A Pluck Full of Heap, I do mainly reaction videos to everything from rock to metal to Japanese rock, prog, everything in between. Just really a channel that I just kind of did out of the blue. Like I seen Uriah Heep in Edmonton, I think about a few years ago, and I said, you know what? You always have a pocket full of music. What was the last band I seen? Uriah Heep. So there's the channel name.
And I think everybody watching this stream is obviously well aware of who Notes is, but if there's an oddball just coming on because of some weird algorithmic suggestion YouTube had and doesn't know, tell us a little bit about your channel, Michael.
Sure, yeah. Actually, today is the 9th anniversary of my channel, if you can believe it.
Wow.
Started 2014, October 1st. So this is like a little celebration of that. I've been reviewing prog on YouTube since then. I try to skew more new releases to get the word out there for new releases in prog, but I also look at the classic stuff as well. The things that I think most people might not know about are my different podcasts that I have. I have one that's dedicated to prog that's called Quid Prog Quo, where I get my friends and loved ones to listen to prog music, and then they get me to listen to whatever they want. And I have a metal podcast that's more on the meditative side. So it's a very meditative metal podcast called The Metalhead. So I think those are the two things that maybe more people don't know about outside of my YouTube channel.
I love that Quid Prog Quo series. That thing's awesome. You had a little hiatus on that for a while, didn't you? You kind of put that thing on ice for a quick little minute.
Yeah,
people might have forgotten about it there for a while.
Probably. I mean, I love it, but it takes so much work to do and to coordinate. And I just trying to juggle everything. It was the one that unfortunately was the weakest link. So I'm only doing it now. So I'm hoping to get more content out there. But yeah, we'll see. I love doing it. It's just a lot of work.
No, it's a lot of fun. And I enjoy the series a whole bunch, and like I was saying, this is the Sunday prog stream. We're rebranding is ongoing, of course, but it has nothing to do with the fact that the 4th installment, the numbers were down a little bit. It's got absolutely nothing to do with that whatsoever. No siree, Bob. We're all about just providing excellent content. Let the numbers take care of themselves.
We're following Peter Gabriel and Led Zeppelin. With after the 4th album, we stopped numbering the albums and just called it whatever it was that was on the album.
Exactly right. There's been no pressure from the record label, though. In this particular instance, I really wish Gabriel would have kept the series going because I thought that was so cool. Just kind of like a magazine, The letterhead stayed the same, but all the imaging underneath was different. I thought that was really cool. But you know. There can be some comparisons though to the great Peter Gabriel and what Steven Wilson's doing on this new record. I think the embracing of new sounds, new recording techniques, and the willingness to go in different directions where maybe an artist who's not quite as big a name or such an established name would be willing to risk losing a percentage of your fan base to go into electronica. Although if you dig deep into Steven Wilson's discography, you know that's nothing new. But for some people, it might, a Porcupine Tree fan that doesn't know some of that stuff, it might be a little discombobulated by this record, just a tad bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the only constant that I have for Steven Wilson and his output is his ability to always surprise his audience, both good and bad. So, like, every release is some kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that this one, it continues that was not a surprise to me. I'm like, ooh, I'm surprised about this one. I'm not surprised about that. Yeah.
And
what's great, this is my first Steven Wilson album that I've listened to.
Okay.
So I listened to it and I actually think, you know what? I think if you're probably actually going to give someone Steven Wilson, maybe this might be where you start and have them work back. And
why not? I mean, it's not hitting you over the head with any one particular style. I mean, obviously you get a real good idea of what you're going to get right from the get-go with Inclination. I mean, so what a great opening track. Because not only is it really cool and it's really weird how it just drops off into nothing and then the vocals come in and it's like, is that a new song or where am I? You're disoriented a little bit, but you know kind of what this record's going to be all about. He's not tricking you into putting an upbeat pop number on the front end of this thing. I appreciate it, and the fact that it's actually a really good track. Doesn't help, doesn't hurt any. But I was thinking about how Steven Wilson's production work and all that remixing, remastering stuff that he does, how that might influence some of his songwriting and how he approaches music. But I was also just listening to the progressive sounds in UK alternative music. That 4 CD set that just came out. And looking at some of the bands that are on that compilation that Steven Wilson put together, and then listening to this new record, everything made sense, man. Wire, Bill Nelson's Red Noise, Magazine, XTC, Public Image, The Stranglers, Ultravox, Gang of Four, Simple Minds, Durutti Column, Joy Division, New Order, OMD, Japan, The Cure, A Certain Ratio, Thomas Dolby, Art of Noise, Kate Bush, Sisters of Mercy, Dead Can Dance, Cardiacs, and the. I think I heard all of those on this new record.
Oh, absolutely.
And some little piece or another. And that just makes this record exciting for me because that was a real weird time for me in music, 79 to 89. Which that compilation Steven Wilson put together is based on, because I was pretty much done with prog. My favorite bands had kind of gone in directions I wasn't interested in or had broken up. So I was listening to all of those bands, man. That was my music for a while. So just getting that reminder of, what Steven Wilson had been working on, while he was concurrent with this project, it all kind of made sense to me while I'm listening to it, and kind of got me excited to, like I said, delve deeper. And I can't wait to get into listen number 4 and 5 and 6 and really dig in, because I feel like I'm only at the surface now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been totally ignoring every single person. We're in minute number 14 here, and we have got such a backlog of comments that it's just ridiculous. I mean, we have such a backlog that we've got Wayne making comments on here. But okay, this person's played it like 4 times so far. Styx 1231, Production is as good as I've heard in some time. Okay. Pimping the review on Facebook. Absolutely. Do it. Yeah. God save the sky.
All the good stuff.
That ending thing, man, that just happened so accidentally. Next thing I know, I'm stuck with it for life, but I'm not complaining. New Circus Devils, man. I love Circus Devils. The new songs sound incredible. Yeah, so I'll be reviewing that for sure. Crawford doesn't know if he's going to purchase the new album or not. It's all right. You don't have to. It's a big world. As long as you're listening to new music, it doesn't matter if it's Steven Wilson or No Spoon or Anchor It or whatever you're into. Just don't give up on new music, and that's what we're all about here. BB Chronicles, for me, I've listened to it 3 times through now. It's okay. It's good, not great. Only a few songs I really like. Some that are okay, some I don't like at all. Overall, not that impressed. And I get that, but some of the songs I didn't think I was impressed with, like that beautiful Scarecrow song. First couple times through, I was like, but then it all just started to kind of click a little bit. And then that last 90 seconds of the song gets real big and heavy. I kind of dig that. So, but, I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of people's most favoritist Steven Wilson album of all time. Probably, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but I can see it not being like anybody's worst, right? Like there's something to love about this album. And one of the things that I was thinking about as I was listening to it, especially the first time around, was how similar it was to his first 2 releases, especially in like atmosphere and in an expression as well. Like both of those albums are very all over the place stylistically, and this album is very similar to that.
Yeah, and I just love Grace for Drowning. So
same. It's one of my favorites.
I always get stuck in, it's the Raven, her hand cannot erase, Raven, her hand cannot erase. And then I was like, Grace for Drowning is every bit as good, man. It really is. I was listening to that last weekend. So good.
Yeah, it always gets overshadowed by those other 2.
Really off this album, there's only really one song I found through both listens I didn't really care for, and that was Economies of Scale. That was pretty much it. But everything else I found after that, it really got really sucked you into it.
Yeah, and even Economies of Scale, it's ironic because it's only 4 minutes long, so it does understand that it didn't need to suffer from having a scale problem. It knew its running time, and I think it's perfect at 4 minutes. It didn't overstay its welcome, but not my favorite song on the album, but I'm a huge Radiohead fan, so I didn't mind it at all. I kind of dug it a little bit. Got the Killer Clown shirt on, Undefined Jelly Bean. I love horror movies. I don't know if anybody had ever guessed that with the Chucky doll that's sitting there behind me.
I was going to say a very good friend of mine actually has developed a Chucky board game that I'll send to you. I'll send you the link. So I know you'll really enjoy that one.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Zeb, Zeb's everywhere in these streams, right? If you go on to anybody's stream on YouTube, 24 hours a day, Zeb is your man. He's going to be there. Yeah, some No Spoon physical product. Do we have any updates on that at all?
Not that I've heard of.
No.
They're doing a lot more content on like YouTube and online, which is really good. Like a couple playthroughs and things like that, but I haven't heard about a physical release yet.
Okay, now we've got royalty in the house. People think these live streams are just like stupid things that nobody watches. It's just a bunch of us nerds. It's the great Adam Sears in the house, Lobate Scarp, and he's chimed in. Hand Cannot Erase is his favorite. And he wants a link to the Chucky game too, apparently.
I'll tweet it out. How's that? I'll find it and I'll tweet it out.
I'm telling you, man, Lobate Scarp, one of those great unheralded bands that people really do need to know about. Just fantastic stuff. That last album was amazing, just terrific. And yeah, it does freak me out because sometimes I'll be talking about a band or an album, and then you see them in the comments, and it's just awesome. I love that when that happens, especially, these live streams, because you can, give them a real-time shout out. So yeah, Low Bait Scarp, just amazing. Love you guys. He was just at Universal night. Yeah. Chucky Mays. I'm jealous, man. Not all of us live in LA, man. Living that, that musician high life, walking down Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, we don't live that lifestyle, man. We don't have it like you. Great to see some live. Nothing can beat Hand Cannot Erase. That's the great Victor Lazaroff. Thank you, Victor, for all your support of the channel. We love you. We know who you are. But yeah, so I'm going to show my first of a few different really bad album covers while you guys mull over this question. And it should be favorite Canadian prog band not named Rush, because that's not fair. I mean, it really is. It really is.
True. I have one, even though they're not necessarily straight up prog. Well, I guess I have two. One that's definitely more in the prog sphere, and one that did one prog album, and then all of their albums before and after had like one or two proggy tracks on it.
Okay.
Fair Canadian prog band. Only one right now, other than Rush, that comes to mind: Harmonium.
That was my straight up prog one. The good French Canadian stuff.
Yeah, love it. All three albums from Harmonium, just fantastic. But there's been some really cool bands out of Canada, and I will be doing a World Prog episode very soon. I've done like 6 or 7 countries. I've gotten lazy. I think Poland was the last one I did. I am doing Canada, but I've only got like 15 or 16 bands that I love, and I don't like doing those kind of episodes unless I have a bunch of bands that I really, really want to talk about, because I don't want to fake it. I don't want to be a big giant faker, but here we go. I'm going to go big, and I'm going to show you this amazing album cover, man. There was this indie band called 31 Knots, led by Joe Haig. Just such an amazing band. He even made an appearance on Portlandia, where he was this hipster parent at a daycare center and had to go through the music selection. There couldn't be any Phil Collins in there, and it had to be nothing but Can and Noy. Anyway, it's 31 Knots and this lovely little thing called Trump Harm. What in God's name am I even looking at here? Yikes. Oh,
looks like somebody just discovered Photoshop.
That is just horrible. That's like the worst album cover ever. And the band is so great. That's what's sad about it. A really, really great band. An amazing album. Even that's their final record. They went out in style. Boy, did they ever. Musically, it's a 10. That's the worst album cover I think I've ever seen. What was that? Bunch of hands coming out of somebody's face, and they're like naked. Yeah. I mean, I don't need to see that. But yeah.
We could probably do a whole episode off this, but my first one would definitely be a Rick Wakeman album.
Oh boy.
Rock and Roll Prophet.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
Oh,
Rick
man.
had some bad ones, man.
Oh yeah.
Rick had some real bad ones. And I was getting ready a few months ago. I did my 6 Wives of Henry VIII turns 50 episode. My wife looks at the album cover. She's like, that's a terrible album cover. I mean, that's like his best. That was actually a good one. You should see some of the crap that came out later.
Oh boy.
Hello from Poland. Yes, we do have some Polish viewers.
Amazing.
We love Poland.
While we're going through there, so I've mentioned 2 Canadians. Since I am Canadian myself.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered here. By the way,
Obviously, the first one from the 70s is Klaatu.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't heard Klaatu's Hope album yet, you have to. It's a progressive rock masterpiece. But one that came out in the 90s was the Tea Party. They put out one album that was like practically a straight up prog album back in the 90s and early 2000s. And like each of their albums since then have had a proggy element to it. They're a little bit more modern rock, but I think it's still very, very good.
Oh, they're awesome. Tea Party's great. Especially that first one. Just awesome. Good stuff. So Ed's talking about April Wine, Triumph, the Guess Who, and BTO. I love the Guess Who. I think they were amazing. And of course, Harmonium. Dennis Lind, the great Dennis Lind, has chimed in with Harmonium.
If anybody's into like really heavy metal stuff, they're doing a lot of really amazing stuff in terms of like tech death metal. Like probably the biggest one people know of is like Protest the Hero, but there's a lot of smaller bands in the Canadian scene right now that are doing some really interesting things in the tech death prog metal.
It's just crazy. I mean, you had so many bands in like the indie scene in Canada, and now all of that. Canada's just pound for pound actually doing it better than the US, and that's sad. Why isn't the French vinyl addict here today? You know, we were
there we go.
We were handing out citations, and we're knighting people into the eternal order of prog rock, making it them official members of the Knights of the Prog Table. And the French vinyl addict's not here to be a part of that, but that's all right. That's all right. Maybe next week we'll get him. Crownlands is another one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. Another band I have to start checking out. I've heard of them, like I've seen their stuff everywhere. Just weird. I'm probably like, what was it, up till about a couple years ago? I was probably actually more. I had my select bands I just listened to, and then once pretty much COVID hit, it's like probably the best thing that's ever happened to a lot of music listening people is discovered prog. Found it
they were bored and they were shut in, and they were going on YouTube and they were finding people like Notes Reviews and watching their channel and many others. But I think it was a great thing for prog. Actually, was it got a lot of different eyeballs into the space, and then it brought the rats out, because that's what happens when when it rains, the rats start coming out of the woodwork. That was me, and people like me actually started YouTube channels and stuff. So it wasn't all good, but that's all right. We'll sacrifice Peter Jones talking about Arcade Fire, and that's
love
exactly
Arcade Fire.
what I was alluding to about all the indie stuff that was coming out. I mean, the Metrics of the world and the Broken Social Scenes and the Arcade Fires, the Stars, and just on and on and on. Most Serene Republic, just ridiculous amounts of amazing music coming out of Canada. It's the great Jeff Shilka. If you haven't watched the Jeff Shilka unboxing episode, go back in my video archives, and he sent me this box from Michigan, and it was awesome. We opened it up, and hey, if anybody wants to send me a box full of free stuff, we'll do you a video too, man. But thank you again, the great and mighty Jeff Shilka. I was only going to show one, but Jordy beat me to it.
Yeah, the big generator.
This is crap. I mean, 90125 was not a good album cover, but at least it was the 80s, right? You gave them that one free pass with that one really bad era-specific album cover. They thought it was so good they actually like incorporated it here again.
Oh yeah.
Why do they do that? It sucked the first time.
Maybe they're trying to distill the like the yes symbol. Maybe they're trying to make that the new yes symbol. The one that appears on all their albums.
And people like me were having none of it, man. I was not. I was not happy. I was not thrilled. But have you listened to the new Trevor Rabin album?
I have. It's interesting. I've only listened to it once, so I don't have a whole lot of stay power on it, but it definitely reminds me of what Yes was kind of doing after Big Generator. And it's good. I need more time with it, but my initial thought was that I enjoyed it more than Mirror to the Sky, and I actually really enjoyed Mirror to the Sky this year. So yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down and really process it a little bit more, but I enjoyed it.
The musicianship is just this guy's 69 years old, and his voice sounds great. Yeah, he's straining a little bit to hit the high notes. Dude is 69. I mean, not everybody can be like a genetically engineered weirdo like John Anderson. I don't know how he does it still, but his guitar playing on this record, I mean, it's just incredible. The guy's just nuts. I really liked it a lot. I think I might review it next week. I don't know. Reviews are so hard.
I'm hoping to review it myself.
I get so wrapped up into it, and I listen to nothing else. And it's like I feel like I can only review an album unless, as I'm talking about it, I can hear every single note and every part of the song going through my head while I'm explaining it, which means I got to listen. I mean, minimum really is like 10 to 12 times through if I'm reviewing an album. And that sets me back from doing a whole lot of other stuff, So I don't know how you review as much as you do. I really don't. It is a testament to your greatness and the greatness of your channel.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'd like to think it's practice makes perfect. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm sitting there like, did what I say make any kind of sense, or am I just rambling and talking around the issue again and again? So.
Yeah. You never do that. No.
Oh,
none of us ever do that.
Thank you.
I don't know. I never listen back to one of my videos and be like, what in the world did I just say there? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, and I also I edit my videos pretty heavily as well, so I'm forced to sit down and listen to everything that I'm saying. I'm like, I did not say anything during that 5 minutes, so I'm just going to cut that completely out.
Where are you on the video editing sphere, Wayne? Do you edit your videos extensively to make yourself look as good as possible?
Not really. Just spend especially doing reactions. I just pretty much throw the music on there, just turn the volume of everything around me down, and then whatever I say after is kind of, because they are first time reactions, so it's kind of interesting to figure all that stuff out. But yeah, I spend very little time. I'm lazy as hell when it comes to that.
Yeah, I just see that Max Webster and Kim Mitchell, just great Canadian artists.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Giving a shout out to all the Canadians, and that's what happens when you're outnumbered up here. The great Stephen Hajas, greetings from Mississauga,
around the corner from my my hometown.
You see how that works?
Yeah.
Quebec Prog was incredible. So many great bands.
Absolutely.
I'm still, that's why I haven't done my Canadian episode, to be honest, because there's so much in that Quebec prog scene that was going on there. A lot of bands I still haven't dug 100% into. We're gonna get there sooner or later. Zeb wants to know if I'm gonna review the new Gong, the new Ozric Tentacles, and or the new Circus Devils, and probably not on the Ozrics. They go a little outside my purview. Usually Gong would be too, but I love Kavis Cherobi. I'm a humongous fan. I think the last couple of Gong albums have been amazing. Really enjoyed them. So I will probably do Gong, and I'm definitely doing Circus Devils, though, because whenever Robert Pollard decides he wants to do a prog freakout album, I'm 100% involved. I'll be right there. And that's exciting for me, because it's been, a long time since Pollard has done anything really besides a Guided by Voices project. And, doing a Circus Devils again after all these years. What's it been, like 9 years since the last Circus Devils? And so that's why I started the channel, so that I could talk about weird, ridiculous music nobody else cares about. Absolutely. And we talk about Yes and Genesis to hook them in, and then we talk about Circus Devils just because that's what we want to do.
Yeah, that was my initial thought too. It's like, I'll hook them in with the popular releases, but then I'll sprinkle in all these obscure stuff that I really, really love.
Yeah, that's what we have to do, because we can look at our numbers, and we talked about this a little bit before we went on air, Wayne and I, and just about what type of content brings the numbers in, and what we can do to get more eyeballs on us, on our channels, so that we can do the good work that we were put on this good earth to do, which is spread the news, the gospel of Prog, and other related assorted genres that tickle our fancy. That's what we're here to do, and you can't do that if you don't have anybody listening to you. So you got to find the content that gets people juiced up and excited and tuning in, and then you just hope there's just enough rub off, just enough people that like what you're doing and will follow along when you talk about something outrageous nobody's ever heard about before. And actually sometimes it works, and I love those moments.
I was gonna say, my video that I've ever done was one of those. It was just like a random one-off video where I wanted to talk about the animated movie of the Lorax, specifically in the soundtrack, of how they wrote this masterpiece of a song for the Onceler's transformation, and then decided not to use it and use this pop song instead. And I wanted to talk about that, and now I have like almost 1 million views on that video. Like, it continuously out of my analytics, it's like that one gets at least 2,000 to 3,000 views a week, and then all my other videos are like, we'll get 200, 300 video views. I'm like, why is this the one that connects with people?
Right.
It's
you never know.
It's a lot of fun.
And I don't think Wayne or I probably has a video doing anything like that. Do you, Wayne? Do you have a video that's just consecutively week after week giving you good views, keeping your hopes alive, keeping your channel afloat, just keeping everything going? You got one of those?
My reaction to the Beatles "I'm Only Sleeping" or whatever, it's closing in on 10,000 views.
That's not bad.
That's awesome.
That's not bad at all.
The thing that shocks me about my channel is I don't have anything like that, man. It's just like
not yet.
About the hard slog, brother. It's like I got to grind this thing out to get the views and to keep people's interest. But I think what it's done is it's made me sharper. If I would have had like a big hit, like early on, something that hit like 50 or 100K, I don't think I'd work as hard as I do. And I don't think I would have gotten as good as I am currently at what we do. So I'm thankful for it, but man, I don't have anything that's taken off and been a big hit. And, maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll figure out the algorithm and get that big viral hit.
I mean, I didn't get anywhere near these numbers until I was like 3rd or 4th year in. And I remember when my first video got more than 1,000 views and it was getting like 5,000 views, I was floored, and I must have been like 6 years in at that point. So it just takes time.
Yeah. And the more you do too.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, you don't understand the algorithm. They don't understand the algorithm. And sometimes you just put out a really good video that the algorithm likes and all the stars align and who knows. But, nothing's going to happen if you don't take your shot. You got to hit record.
That's right.
You got to do your thing. And, if you're having a good time, people stay with you. They understand. Oh, here we go. It's rabbit. My wife, I'd never heard this before. Were you aware of this thing?
No. What is this?
Apparently, it's a thing that you say on the first day of October is rabbit to welcome in the fall harvest season or whatever. Even though we're 10 days into autumn technically, but yeah, my wife asked me just today, have you ever heard of this? And I'm like, I have no idea what it is, but thank you, Alume Eltonen, for enlightening us and making our days just a little bit better as we learn something new. I don't know the origin of that, so maybe you could enlighten us in the comments. We'd all be very, very thankful. But we've shared a couple of bad album covers. Any immediately come to mind, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, you're putting me a little bit on the spot, so I have to think about it.
That's all right. Hey, while you think about it, Alume Eltonen, it's the first day of any month. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did a quick Google search, and it's like FDR claimed to say rabbits of each month was to carry good luck. It's like a rabbit's foot.
Like their lucky rabbit's foot. That's right. That's right. Okay. If I would have been paying attention when my wife was talking earlier about it, I probably would have caught that. That would have been very, very helpful.
You know what? I do have an album. I looked on my shelf and I'm like, what album is in there is just Marillion's Fear album. The album cover for that, it leaves so much to the imagination that it might as well have just been a blank album.
Yeah.
At that point. That's the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not creative. And honestly, I'm glad that but I could have done without that name of the album.
Same. Yeah. I'm glad that they had a much better album cover for an hour before it starts, because I really like that album.
That was a beauty. Yeah, see, simple doesn't mean it sucks.
Exactly.
We don't hate the Fear album cover because it's simple. We hate it because it's a bad album cover. Whereas that latest one is actually really cool. I like it. Absolutely. They're both really good records, but Peter Jones talking about Arcade Fire again.
Love Arcade
Another
Fire.
Peter giving me a shout out. Hey, how are you guys? Well, I got another one that's just I was dropping somebody off the other day, and their neighbor was having a yard sale, and you know how it is when you're like driving by and you see a yard sale, you know what you're looking for when you look, right? You're craning your neck. My wife's like, I know what you're looking for. You're looking to see if they got vinyl. And I'm like, of course I am. Well, they had a little something, and I was like all excited. And this is what I came home with.
Oh,
Meet the Mom and Dads.
Oh my gosh.
The Mom and Dads.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's a great album cover.
Wow. The back cover is, kind of ahead of its time in typesetting.
You can carbon date when that was put out based on that.
From the font, you can guess the year. I mean, look at the serifs on that font. Right? It could only be 1977. Absolutely. Yep. You're right. That's not a horrible album cover. That's a great album cover. I apologize.
Oh no, that's
Mom
all right.
and Pops, wherever you are. Let's see, where was this? Spokane, Washington. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. To any of the survivors, because I'm guessing judged. They're probably not with us anymore. So to any of the survivors of members of the Mom and Pops, I apologize for my rude comments about that album cover. It's awesome. You're right. That is really good. But yeah, I guess I was just so disappointed, right? You pull into a yard sale and you see they've got a little selection of vinyl. You're hoping that there's going to be that little gem in there, right? You're hoping that first pressing of harmonium's in there somewhere, right? No.
Yeah, I always, because my partner and I are really big on thrift stores. So every time we go into a thrift store, I go straight for the vinyl, because usually like a Goodwill, Value Village, or a Red Cross, they usually have like the small little bundle of records. So I go straight to those.
Oh yeah. That's, it's sad because it's all I look at now. If I go into a store, if it's got a vinyl section, I'm like oblivious to everything else. There's a couple Barnes and Noble stores that still have vinyl, and some do, some don't. but I don't. The ones that do, I don't even look at the books at all. I'm just looking at every piece of vinyl, and it's sad. It's like big old blinders come on, and I look over at the wife just to kind of gauge about what my budget really is here, what I can get away with here. But yeah, I like 90125 also.
Yeah, it's all right. I reserve my judgment. I'm not a big fan myself.
I like it the same way I like the first Asia album. It was for what it was. Okay. For what it was, it knocked it out of the park. I thought that was to deliver some hits, to update the sound, to stay relevant somehow in the early 80s, and 10 out of 10 and on both, all counts on both albums. I think they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, I returned to the second Asia album a lot. There's a lot of bangers off of that second album I love that. I love that one more than the debut. I will listen to that one.
I think it's similar to, there's a lot of people that love Big Generator. I was not happy with Big Generator. And I still really am not. I never really warmed up to it. Whereas 90125, I thought was a breath of fresh air. It was new blood. It sounded, appropriate to 1983 to me, so I was all right with it. But Big Generator just sounded like more of the same. It didn't sound like there was a lot of growth in the interim, and all the infighting and stuff.
What's worse, that or Open Your Eyes?
Oh yeah. Open Your Eyes is. I think what you've got is kind of a consensus about a bottom and the Yes hierarchy.
I'd even say Talk wasn't a great album cover either.
But it's got its fans. There's some people that really get up in arms and will defend Talk, and that elevates its overall score. I am not one of those people. I think it's I like it, but I don't love it. Some people absolutely adore Talk. I think there's 3 albums in the discography that I think are just generally considered to be the bottom, and that Open Your Eyes is definitely one of them. I think Union and Heaven and Earth. I think those 3 are generally considered to be the bottom. I would
agree to that. Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
I enjoy Talk. There's something on Talk that I really enjoy. But yeah, I'm very glad that they shift gears once they got to the later 90s with the ladder and into the 2000s.
Thank God for it too. I'm going to probably review the Trevor Rabin album, and I do really enjoy it. I like it a lot. But, at the end of the day, you cannot serve 2 masters. You either are a Trevor Rabin guy or you are a Steve Howe guy. I'm a Steve Howe guy, so... I'm going to go.
I will say, I wanted to push back on that last comment of no good art in 1983 because 1983.
Let me go back to that. Here we go.
Not to put Gary on blast or anything, but 1983 saw Script for a Jester's Tear as well as Tales from the Lush Attic, both from Marillion and IQ, which started the whole neo-prog movement. So I want to push back just a little bit on that to say like there was still good stuff. It just wasn't from some of the bigger bands.
There was plenty of great stuff happening. Just off the top of my head, 3 of my favorite albums of all time came out in 1983, and none of them are prog though. The first Smiths album, the first Violent Femmes album, and Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. That's all 1983. So I'll go to bat for every year had great music in it. You just had to look for it. And Prog had its good years and its bad years. I've been doing this series where I'm like going through the top 25 albums or each year and working my way backwards. My last one was like 2011, and that was like 6 months ago because I'm kind of stuck because 2010 sucked. There's hardly anything great that I love in 2010. So do what the NHL did and take a whole season off. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Skip it.
Yeah, just skip it.
We've got more royalty in the house. Michael Nolan is in the house.
Perfect.
Hey, Michael.
Welcome.
Fantastic. Team How, let's be honest, where they sit today, whose chops is better. Obviously, Raven has still got it, man. Wait until you hear this Rio album, start to finish. Some of the Steve Morse, like, countrified stuff he's doing on this record, just ridiculous, man. Steve Howe can't play like that anymore. He's really, he's lost a couple speeds. He ain't what he used to be. He's just not, and that pains me to say.
Yeah.
No.
But it always devolves into yes talk on this channel.
I was going to say, weren't we supposed to talk about the new Steve Wilson album?
It always does, and you just go with the flow.
Oh, absolutely. But, I love that.
Another terrible album cover there, Scott.
Want one, yeah.
Acid Motherhood by Gong.
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah. That's not a good cover. But, Gong redeemed themselves with a lot of really cool covers. They had some really cool, trippy covers over the years. So, yeah, I can't bang on them too much. And more Team How. Yeah, Team How in 1977. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. He was on fire. But, going through the tracks on the new Steven Wilson album, boys and girls, I had a couple notes.
I was going to say, Gary's just out for blood today. Oh, man, boy. That's harsh.
It is.
How can you listen to IQ's Ever and say that it's soulless? Anyway, that's just me.
I do understand to a certain degree that a lot of neo-prog does sound like, a certain era of Genesis. I get it. They do, but there's worse things you could be indebted to. Absolutely. And some of this modern neo-prog has moved so far away from that, there's some neo-prog out there that doesn't sound anything like Genesis. So, it's not all. Absolutely. Yeah.
And every band has their influences where they take from. So it might start off there, but eventually it all moves away. So you got to at least give some of this stuff an actual chance.
There we go. There we go. Our low bait scarp considered neo. To how do I say this without sounding like a gatekeeper? To certain casual fans of the genre, the term neo-prog has been used as an umbrella label for any prog band that came out from the early 90s on, regardless of what their music technically should have been classified under. So you'll get people classifying any modern prog band as neo-prog. So in answer to your question, Adam, you are technically not a neo-prog band, but to a lot of folks, that's where they will lazily put you. What would I classify your band? I would call it eclectic prog.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
Yeah, there's just too many elements to just sit. I want to put it in symphonic because there's a whole bunch of symphonic elements to it, but there's more than that. So yeah, I'm going eclectic prog in answer to you. And we answer questions here. That's why we don't want to ignore these comments. And I get bad. I get lazy. I start. The worst thing that happens is I start listening to you guys, and I shouldn't do that. I should be paying attention to them. Yeah, Fish sounds like the whole Marillion thing. Again, I get it. Fish had a certain way of singing that did kind of make you think of a certain era. Genesis, it bites. Yeah, they don't sound like Genesis really. According to Prog Archives, Low Bait Scarp is crossover prog.
And that's a kind of like, I think that's more of a catch-all term for anything that doesn't quite fit into very neatly into one or two different styles.
They have a couple of those categories, right? They have crossover prog related, eclectic means a lot of different things. So I think they're covering their ass sometimes, but I love Prog Archives. We can't live without it. But here we are. We're talking about Steven Wilson, guys. We are talking about the new album, Harmony Codex. What is it? It's technically a 7th solo album.
Let's see.
According to Wikipedia, it says 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 7th. I had to count them out.
No, I got a couple thoughts on some of these songs. Like I said, first off, my first thought was a lot of these songs really do harken back to some of those bands that were on his little compilation thing that he was doing. But, you know, Impossible Tightrope. I mean, that's probably the song I've listened to the most since it was one of the singles, probably up to like listen 10 or 11 on that. Man, that thing is just awesome. I mean, that's the perfect distillation of just like everything he's ever done, all kind of thrown in together. It's the closest thing I guess fans will get to, you know, they're craving, they want some Raven, you know, they want some of that kind of feel. Maybe they get a little bit of that, but that song's just incredible. I put that up there with one of the best tracks he's ever done. What's been your reaction on that one? That Impossible Tightrope song. Am I barking up the wrong tree here? Because I love that.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Sax solo comes in, man.
I enjoyed the song. I like how on each of these little songs, it just takes you on a musical journey through them, and they're all kind of different. Every song's different. So it's like listening to this, I'm like, as soon as I heard this song, I'm like, yep, just gotta like this song.
Yeah. That's clearly the song that caught my attention. But honestly, I was shocked how much I loved the title track.
I was gonna say that's been my favorite track. And I wish I could have seen it like when he was doing that like roadshow thing where he would rent out a theater with like that 17.5.1 surround sound. Because I think that is really where that type of a song was meant to be listened to. Very similarly to how like Oppenheimer or that new Mission Impossible movie was meant to be seen in an IMAX. This album was meant to be seen or listened to in that kind of a theater.
Yeah. I mean, that track is just so gorgeous, man. It just bludgeons you with this absolute beauty that's just almost so much that I kind of want to poke my ears out after a while. I just, it's like this ingratiating. It's just amazing. It makes you feel stuff. And when music crosses over from, you know, it's something I'm listening to into this is making me feel something. There ain't no words in this thing. Well, I mean, they're
very little. Yeah.
You know, the little narration. What is that? What's her name? I can never remember.
Oh, Nanette.
Nanette.
Nanette Tibet or whatever.
She's just awesome, man.
Yeah.
Every time.
I like how he sprinkled that throughout the album. Just those little narration bits.
That whole thing does come back on the last track on that Staircase song. You know, about her flying and stuff like that. And it's cool, man. I mean, I'm kind of trippy, kind of music, kind of always wants you to go on that, you know, trip with them. And it so rarely actually happens that when it actually does land, it's a whole bunch of fun. And this is a record that does that to me. So I really dug that. But I really thought this album ended fantastic with that penultimate track, the Actual Brutal Facts song. Man, that thing was great. I really dug that song. I even dug like the robot voice that was going on in there, which sounded actually pretty cool. And then it goes right into that last song, which I just thought was such a cool track. That Staircase song. It's like 9.5 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like it, you know. It only felt like it was like 3 or 4 minutes long, and that's when you know, you got a winner on your hands, that it's engaging your brain enough in certain areas. Yeah, this isn't 100% prog. It's not, you know, the kind of record that you go back to try to figure out the weird time signatures going on here. It's not Porcupine Tree. It's not doing that kind of stuff. But man, there's plenty on here. There's way more than enough to keep your brain active, stimulated, occupied. He sounds great. His voice sounds great.
amazing.
For a guy that says he doesn't really want to, play that much guitar and he hates guitar music and whatnot, his guitar playing sounds pretty good on this record too. So yeah, I'm digging it. I'm real happy with this record. Actually, surprisingly so. I'm liking it way more than I thought I would at this point.
Same. I'm so glad that there are 3 tracks that are a little bit on the longer side. Four if you want to include the first track of Inclination. But yeah, the fact that he's going into the 9-minute and 10-minute mark, I applaud. I'm like, yes, please, more of that.
Yeah. I hate the fact that I'm a slave to running time, but I also love the fact that there are artists wise enough out there to throw some red meat to your fans, man. We don't ask for much. We'll let you take us wherever you want us to go, man. If you're a loyal Steven Wilson fan, he's earned that much. He's earned your trust. Just let him take you where he wants you to go. He's not going to lie to you. He didn't lie to you about the future bites. He told you exactly what that record was going to be about. He didn't lie to you about To the Bone. You knew what that was going to be about. This one was maybe a little bit more mysterioso in terms of what it actually would be all about. But again, by the time, what was the leadoff track? Economies of scale, so he's not tricking you. He's not deceiving anybody. But he's taking you in some weird places, and I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying this record. Anybody that's on the fence about it, give some of these tracks a few more listens, because, like we were saying, even the ones that don't immediately step out, like the second track, What Life Brings, at first doesn't really sound like there's a whole lot there, but it's actually fantastic. I mean, once you start listening to little subtle things going on in the production on this track, just so cool. And that's kind of what led me to come back to the Future Bites, was the production. This one more.
I actually have to say, What Life Brings, I really like the fact that he did bring out like an acoustic guitar, kind of gave it a little breath to it. I really love the song Rock Bottom with him and Nanette, that whole duet there. And Time Is Running Out, that middle section gives me such that Pink Floyd On the Run.
Oh yeah,
feel
absolutely.
To it, where it just
Pink Floyd moments on this record.
There's a bunch of like Gilmour-esque guitar solos. Like you were saying, he's not a big fan of doing the guitar-led album, but I'm like, my guy, you have a Gilmour. Like, this is going back from your first 3 Porcupine Tree albums, where that was your signature style, which was a David Gilmour signature style. So,
absolutely. And it sounds amazing, and he uses it just enough so that you never get really all that bored of it, or like you can't really claim that this is a throwback album at all. And I know a lot of people were wanting that. I was reading some of the commentary before the release of this record, and people really wanted it to be Hand Cannot Erase, or they wanted it to be The Raven, or they wanted it to be this or that. It is what it is. And like I said before, he has earned the right to do that. And I trust him enough to, if he wants to send me on a 10-minute Tangerine Dream, synth freak out. Most artists, I'm like skipping. I'm like, let me go to the next track. I'm not gonna even lie. But with Steven Wilson, it's like, dude, if that's where you want me to go, that's where I'm going, and I will invest that time because you've earned it, and it's absolutely worth the effort. And it actually plays pretty well for an album that is so diverse and so many different stylistic changes. It actually sounds pretty coherent. And I think maybe sequencing might have a little something to do with that too. But
yeah, absolutely. And speaking to your point about, not wanting the same thing, like I wouldn't want like another Raven or another Hand, because like, even though those are my favorite albums from him, I wouldn't want another one because I already have those. I want him to do something different. And I don't want him to fall into the same trap that I feel like a lot of my favorite prog acts are doing, which is just churning out very safe albums. You know, they're churning out albums that are just a repurposed of their last album. And I'm like, I can go back to your last album and listen to that. I want something new. I want something fresh. And I'm glad that with every release that Steven does, he's giving us that. He's always giving us something fresh and something new.
I'm actually doubly impressed in that one could argue that Senor Wilson's last major release was anything but that. You could argue that Closure Continuation was, or whatever it was called, was kind of retread. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was one of the better albums of the year, but it wasn't anything new. I mean, I didn't hear like anything new or fresh on that album. Like, oh, wow, that's brand new for Porcupine Tree. They ain't never done that before. I didn't have those moments. I still liked it. I have those moments with this album.
Yeah, same. And like with that last Porcupine Tree album, I really liked it when it came out, but it did not age well. Like the more time passed, the less I found I enjoyed it. And it's the only Porcupine Tree album that I don't own in a physical format, which kind of says something, you know, like there's 1 or 2 tracks off that album that I can look back fondly on. The rest are just kind of forgettable, and I would rather listen to a Steven Wilson solo project or another Porcupine Tree album.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
Thoughts on it, Wayne? Did you like that last Porcupine Tree album? I know you heard most of it.
Haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, okay,
all the way through enough to have an opinion, but I think that is a problem with a lot of bands, and that's why some bands I really like Pink Floyd could have went off and recorded Dark Side of the Moon 20 times over, but they decided to do Wish You Were Here. Animals kind of push themselves. So I see where that's coming from. And there is that thing where, especially nowadays, any band changes their sound, they're called a sellout.
It's a problem. Yeah, people have a problem with it.
I was going to say, whenever anybody says that they're a sellout, it's not a sellout, it's a buy-in.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, no, I haven't heard that. That's a good one. It's not a sellout. But no, I do hear some Tears for Fears. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And, especially their last album.
It shouldn't surprise anybody, actually. You know, but it's a good observation because I definitely hear it too. Yeah, Illuminate's a big fan of Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis, Tangerine Dream. Haven't heard it yet, but I think actually there's moments where if you're a fan of those acts, you should really like this a lot.
Especially the title track.
Yeah, just delicious. It's awesome. All right, bad album covers. I have, everybody talks about the first bad album cover that comes to mind,
Oh, that's bad.
You have to show it. It's obligatory. But I actually had a worse reaction to this one because this band had just put out like a reunion album the year before, and I thought the artwork was really cool. And they come out with an album and it sounds exactly the same. The artwork looks exactly the same, only it's not cool. It's lame. It's got an eighth note instead of like this really cool symbol on Discipline. I get an eighth note.
the Irish knot or whatever it was that was.
Yeah, man, that Discipline thing was awesome, and the colors were cool. It tied in my mind.
Yeah, in my mind, it was the best part of the album because I'm not a big fan of those 3 albums from the '80s. But that's just me. I know that there's fans of those albums, but just they're not for me. I'd rather listen to Adrian Ballou's solo work rather than his work with King Crimson. But that's just me.
I loved Discipline because I was a big Ballou fan, big Talking Heads fan. It blew my mind when it came out, and then Beat and 3 of a Perfect Pair just sounded like rehash. It didn't sound new. I'd heard it already, and Discipline did it better. Everybody talks about how great Hypnosis was, that they were their go-to, and they're doing a big documentary about them. Every now and then Tormata was Hypnosis people, Andy Partridge from XTC turned that exact record cover down because he said it sucked, but why Yes said yes to it, I have no idea. But they destroyed an album that I think really helped contribute to me hating this album for a long, long time and not giving it the time of day it deserved.
Oh, I love that album cover.
I mean, what is this? Is terrible. This is awful. What is this?
Yeah, I really want to see that.
And
that
it's a game to add insult to injury. It's a gatefold of it.
I know. I love it. I think it describes the music very, very well, because I am a and then there were three fanboy. I love that record.
I do now, but man, when it first came out.
No, that's fair. I don't know. I like, because it shows the three the three artists that are on it. It showcases that there's the three of them, and it's very nighttime surreal, that kind of an essence.
Well, you see,
I don't know. There's something about it that I love.
See, not only was this pre-internet, where you didn't get updates on, the comings and goings of your favorite bands, updated every millisecond. Not only was this, 78 or something like that. I was living on a boat. And I had gotten tickets to see, what at the time, Yes and Genesis have always been my two favorite bands. So, I was excited I was going to see my favorite band for the first time ever, and I get tickets, and who are these people on stage, man? Daryl Strummer, Chester Thompson. What am I even looking at here? I was so distraught that when I did buy the album, I didn't like it. I didn't like the album cover. I was sad that Hackett. I knew Gabriel was gone, obviously, but I didn't know Hackett was out of the band, and man, it devastated me, man. And I was, I think it really soured how I felt about the album for years and years. I go back to it now, and I really like it, but I still, dude, I still don't like that artwork. I don't.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Couple of mine I was thinking about going through is Pink Floyd's The Final Cut.
Yeah.
I've always hated that album cover. When a band designs their own album cover, there's problems.
I thought there were elements of it that were cool. And I really, really, really wanted to like The Final Cut so bad when it came out that I was willing to give it a little bit of slack in the artwork department. I still like The Final Cut, but honestly, I still haven't decided if I like it that much or if I just like it because it's Pink Floyd and I'm supposed to like it.
Yeah.
It's a weird record for me.
And go ahead.
I went through a phase when I was like a young adult where I was convinced that I liked The Final Cut, and I'm like, no, it's good. It's good. I like The Final Cut.
Yeah.
But as I've grown with it and as I've, matured a little bit more, I'm like, I don't think I've sat down to honestly listen to it unless I'm preparing for some kind of a video like one of these. Because it doesn't do anything for me. Like I love the production on it. I love the soundscape of it, but the actual music that's found on it, I'm like,
it's kind of dry.
Yeah, it's So.
Hey, Gary's got an opinion about it.
Of course, Gary has an opinion on it, and he's wrong once again.
Yes.
The Division Bell is one of the greatest Pink Floyd albums, and I will die on that hill. Yeah. The Division Bell is a masterpiece, and by discrediting it like that, I think is a travesty.
Same for me with a Momentary Lapse of Reason that everyone
really good
craps on, but it's a really good record. And they talk about the session musicians that were on that, and I always come back to them. So you're calling Tony Levin a scrub, you're calling Phil Manzanera a scrub. That's pretty much what you're saying, because Roger's not on it, but the guys he got to fill in, they're very competent.
Yeah, I should say so.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a no-win situation. Not only do you have people that just are never going to be okay with Roger not being in the band, but you've got a record on your hands in the Momentary Lapse of Reason that was significantly different. It was a significant departure in sound. And, you had all the bad blood that was in the press, reporting on all this stuff.
Yeah.
I get people not really loving Momentary. And then it had the hit that got way more airplay than you expected on FM radio. Soured some people. It's like, oh, God, this isn't the Floyd I know. They should have absolutely nothing to complain about with the Division Bell, though.
No.
And I mean, come on, man. I'm kind of with you on that record. It's just incredible.
If you want Roger Waters music, Amused to Death is still a great album. You still have that. You're not losing anything. You're gaining another Pink Floyd album and you're gaining another Roger Waters album.
Why wouldn't you want that? That sounds good to me. I mean, part of me was like, as a big Yes guy, I was like, man, I wish they'd all kiss and make up. But then over the last couple of years, I'm thinking, Mirror to the Sky was really good. The Quest was really good. Rick Wakeman put out Red Planet. That was really good. John Anderson put out 1,000 Hands. That was really good.
Really good
Steve
too.
Howe put Love Is. That was really good.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want? And that second Arc of Life album was actually really good. Why wouldn't I want all of it instead of just one record? I get 8 or 9.
I was going to say, and the last time that they all kissed and made up, we got Union. So,
be careful.
Do we really want that again?
Yeah, I don't think you really do.
And my last one for terrible album covers, The Silent Corner and the Empty Stage by Peter Hamill.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Oh,
yeah. That's
it's all right, but yeah,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I like to keep the channel PG-13.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of rules here, but as everyone knows, cursing is not what we do here. We keep it clean. We keep it wholesome. We keep it family friendly, or whatever, man. It's the day. It's the day that you are allowed to worship whomever you want, however you want. You are allowed to not worship anybody at all. You're allowed to be Jewish and worship on Saturday and party on Sunday. You're allowed to be a Christian and party on Saturday and worship on Sunday. It's all good. Yeah. But, like I said before, you don't want your preacher telling you how to vote, and you don't want a politician telling you how to pray. Thank God all three of us live in free and open societies where we can, for the most part, say and do whatever we want to do without repercussions. We are super blessed in that. And I don't think we take enough time and really appreciate that, because things are messed up, man, but they could be so much worse, man. So much worse. Yeah. But that's what we do on Sunday. We reflect on things, and we call to the congregation, not for your gifts, not for your offerings and your tithings. No, we don't resort to those things here. What we are, however, calling upon you to do is to spread the good news, to spread the gospel of prog rock. That prog rock is not dead. It never died. In fact, went in maybe a little hibernation mode for a little while, but we can bring it back to the greatness that it once had. All it takes is for you to tell a friend, and then they tell a friend. And next thing you know, we're back, baby. And that's the goal. That's the mission. World domination. And I will rest a lot easier once that's accomplished. But until then, no rest for the weary. We fight the good fight, and we do what we need to do. Back in the comments. Anything interesting, guys?
I don't know.
Oh man.
While we're waiting though,
oh man.
I'm not even going to look at that at the moment because I do think that we are starting to get a lot more prog influences in music currently. Like Taylor Swift put out that 10-minute track last year. Coldplay put out a pretty long track, I think the year before that, with their Sounds of the Spheres. And bands like the Black Midi and what's the other one? Black Country New Road.
Squid.
Yeah. Squid. So some of these like
dry cleaning, wet leg.
Yeah. The latest. So like we're starting to get that. And I'm just waiting for that, one album that breaks the seal. And then it allows everybody to be like, oh, we can make music like this.
No, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. We have been waiting quite a while for a so-called fourth wave. Yeah, we had an identifiable first wave. We had an identifiable second neo-prog phase. We had an identifiable, third wave. Where's the fourth wave, man? We've been waiting like 15 years now. It's time. And I think maybe you're right. Maybe we are seeing the seeds of it, the origins of it happening with some of those young guitar bands making young, fresh, modern music that not all the old people are going to like. And that's exactly what it's all about, because I know I always felt a little queasy when my mom or dad said, "Oh, that sounds real good. What are you listening to?" I always preferred my mom and dad. Oh my God, what is that? It was just a much preferable reaction to me anyway. I think that's a healthy dose of childhood rebellion. And if you don't have that, if you don't see that, then you're just folk music, and we don't want that. And that's why I will never boomer out about how much I don't like this kind of modern music the young folks are listening to. Look, I don't understand that stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it. I understand one thing and one thing only, and that is prog rock, the greatest music ever recorded. And that's what we do here. And man, we have been blessed. Wayne, we have had Notes with us today.
Great guy. I discovered your channel.
I haven't even tried to skip out.
Yeah, I discovered your channel doing those top 50 prog albums series.
Like Wayne, you know how it's been last couple weeks. They start like checking their phone, and they start looking like they need to duck out. Oh, I got important business to take care of. Now, I think Michael has earned the right to be knighted into the eternal order of prog rock.
Guys.
He is now. They are now officially members of the Knights of the Prog Table. Congratulations, Michael.
I'm honored. Thank you so much.
And you notice only those that have the courage and the nobility to get up on camera and accept the award is eligible for the award, because we got a couple people we could do so in absentia, but that's not going to work.
No,
I'm thinking of our friend Naomi from Israel, right? You need to be present to accept the award. Rules are rules. That's how it goes. But we were thinking about ideas for the show, Wayne and I, and the last thing we were going to talk about was Captain Beefheart's trout mask replica.
Oh.
We're gonna save that for next week. So
I'm gonna miss it. It's the Canadian Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna miss that one, but I'll tune in for it.
There you go. We are getting a good 70% of our views after the fact on View on Demand. So we're gonna be snazzing up our thumbnail and title game to try to get that more like 90-95%. Because there's no reason why we can't be getting bigger numbers on these live streams. And I know I was getting a little bit lazy with my marketing and branding of them. That was my bad. I expected a little bit more out of the prog community. I thought I could maybe take a little break and, not be super creative guy all the time, 24/7, coming up with thumbnails and titles and ideas. No. But, every Batman has his Robin. I got Wayne to do most of my thinking here on this show. So, we're blessed to have Wayne here with us every Sunday. It's been awesome. It's been another good one. Looking at the numbers, let's see where we do. But I get the feeling this is actually going to be our biggest Sunday prog stream. And why not? We have Notes reviews with us. If you have not checked out their channel, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. They've been doing this 9 years now, right? That was just
as of today.
9-year anniversary of the Great Notes Reviews channel. And then at the other end of the spectrum, there's me and Wayne, just a little neophiles, little fish just trying to get some scraps in the ocean. But we do what we do. One day we'll be a big fish like Michael.
One day.
I know you guys are going to make it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they say the stream should last 1.5 to 2 hours. We're coming up on an hour and a half, and that seems to be, what is the magic number as far as how long these things should be? Because honestly, the first 4 were kind of right around an hour and a half, and that kind of felt about right. I don't know. Maybe it's just how big my bladder is, and that's the dictating factor. You know, I'll have a jug next to me next week. Don't worry, guys. We can go long this week.
It's fine.
Just hit the mute button there. You don't need to be hearing the splashing effect. No, sorry, Bob. That's right, Jeff. You tell him it has been an hour and a half. You know, Zeb is Norwegian now. So you got to understand that this time of year, you know, they get more sunlight and, you know, it's all weird up there. Maybe sense of time is not the Norwegians' strength, but Gary, hey, you know, you were allowed to get up here and make ridiculous statements anytime you want. I appreciate that you continue. You know, you didn't. Some people, like, they'll make a splash, they'll make a comment, and then they'll duck out, right?
Yeah.
And you don't see them the next week or two, and then they'll come back, like, try to sneak in. You know, Gary was man enough to back up his bad ideas, and we appreciate that. Hey, you know, we love all of our people here at the Prog Corner, all 5,919 of y'all. And for those of you who haven't subscribed to the Prog Corner, you know, nobody cares about subscriptions anymore. It doesn't even matter anymore. Have you noticed this? The algorithm doesn't care.
Yeah. No, I have what am I got right now? Let me just grab my dashboard 20? Number.
Yeah. Now you got a lot, man. You're a big timer.
Yeah, but okay, so 16,883. But
by the way, that is an amazing number.
Thank you.
But it doesn't matter anymore.
But that's it. Like, I'm looking at my last couple of videos, and it's like 300, 200, 300, 500, 1,600. So yeah, it doesn't. It's just a number, right? Yeah. It's like your age. It's just a number.
Yeah.
I think there was a point in time where that was a major factor in what they were sending out, what they were suggesting to people. And I think there was a time where if somebody was your subscriber, they were going to be suggested your video. That's not the case anymore. I hear from subscribers all the time. It's like, I didn't know you had new videos out. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they don't suggest your videos to me. I'm like, you're a subscriber. You should definitely be seeing my videos. So, you know, it's weird.
Turn on the bell and notification.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Turn that. Do what he said.
Yeah.
That's
also
what
5.
You do.
I will say 5,000 for the first couple of years is really good. It took me a number of years to get to that point. So you're already ahead of the curve in that case.
We worked hard at this. You know this. You've been
with
me right from. You have been right there with me from day one. You've witnessed the whole thing. You've seen.
I can see quality when I can recognize quality when I see it.
You know, and obviously, Notes Reviews, one of the more influential channels in the development of what I do on the Prog Corner. Absolutely, a huge fan. I probably watched every single video you released for like a year before. I did video 1 on this channel just because, you know, I wanted to learn from the best. And I figured that was the best way to do it, is just consume a bunch of content. And you and Pete Pardo are the ones that really got me really thinking maybe I should do this. And I'm so glad you joined this stream today, because honestly, this is what we're going to do every Sunday. And I think it's going to be an excellent thing going forward to have a place, a safe space where we can come and congregate and not be judged and not have to worry about being bullied. That those people who enjoy prog rock will have a place to go, and it's going to be all fine. It's going to be okay. It's going to be good. Every Sunday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Prog Corner, the Sunday Prog stream. This is just going to be awesome. And I can envision just, you know, all of us getting together, whether you can make it or not, you can watch it later. If, you know, we can have anybody up that we want, that we decide can add to the show. It's just, I have faith in the Sunday Prog stream. I think it's got legs. Last week's numbers notwithstanding, but I'm going to stay the course, boys and girls. Don't worry. I'm not a quitter.
And the other thing is, Scott, that prog's not the dirty word where you have to It's kind of thought of worse than a Playboy was back in the day, where you needed the paper bag. Hey, dude, can I get some Prog? Now it seems more people are open to it, so it's always a good thing.
There's a difference between padding out and a soft landing. The reality is that you don't want to telegraph what you're doing. You guys don't know what I'm going to do at the end of this show, do you?
No.
Oh, wait a second. You guys know exactly what I'm going to do at the end of the show. And that is why we're keeping the eyeballs flatlined, even though I've been telegraphing for the last 5 minutes. Thanks for pointing that out, Zeb. Like, I really need you to help me figure out what I'm doing here. Like, I need a hole in the head. But we love you too, Zeb. Absolutely. So, yeah, first time you see, and this is the first time Adam has heard about the Sunday Prog stream. So it's going to take a little while, but world domination is absolutely what's going to happen. And yes, the numbers get even higher as they know the end bits on the way, boys and girls. I love you guys. It's been an amazing Prog stream. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you next week, Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Save that sucker right now. Save him. And Prince William too. Why not? See you next week.